Hey there everyone, and welcome back to more Silent Hill 2. I'm still Naggaroth, obviously. And we are now in the Woodside Apartments. Obviously trying to still make our way to the Rosewater Park. And already, as with most new areas, they pretty much give you a map right off the bat. And what I normally like to do when entering any new area, at least a new building, is to go floor by floor, starting from the bottom, to make sure of basically just to check every possible area we can go to. So already the first floor is pretty much cut off to us, so the next available step is to check out the second floor. And already you can start to see signs of the game starting to get darker and even more dilapidated. And as you can tell from the very close quarters that, we might actually have to start having James get into scuffles. There's not going to be a whole lot of breathing room to get around some of the monsters that we're inevitably going to be running into. But it appears that a bag of garbage is actually stuck in this trash chute. This is going to be a puzzle of sorts that we're going to have to solve later on in the apartments. But mostly this is just to get it marked off on the map, as most objectives will, get marked off as such. And here, just showing off a bit the alternate attack for the plank. The swinging is fine. As you can tell, it's obviously a lot closer range. And also, if you end up knocking a lying figure down, but you don't finish them off, it's best just to try to get away, because they're pretty fast, and more than anything, you're probably just going to be hit. But as you can tell by the very large spotlight coming out of this very tiny flashlight, we now have a light source and a new enemy to deal with. This is the mannequin. It's got shorter range and less health than the lying figure, but it does have another special ability of sorts. But James seems to think there's something peculiar about the clothes on this mannequin here. And that is mostly due to the fact that we haven't actually had a chance to look at this picture, but this is a picture of his dead wife, whose outfit coincidentally looks like the outfit of the mannequin. Also, since I haven't shown it off, the picture in the upper left-hand corner actually kind of degrades the more damage that you take, so it's more or less your in-game health meter. Now, this particular article here can actually change depending, in kind of relation to the different endings of the game. As you can tell, this one isn't that positive. One that I was able to get on another recording was actually talking about, being a happy, loving couple. This one, on the other hand, seems to really be about ending your life. So, yeah, it's not the most positive outlook, but honestly, at this point, James is not too happy with his life, to say the least. But yet again, if I'm going a bit too fast, obviously just pause the video, read it at your own leisure. But for the most part, the only thing you really wanted to get out of here was that flashlight, because we're actually going to be needing it in the future. Especially because the flashlight has a lot of purposes that might be otherwise hidden. I mean, for some people out there, they might not even realize that you can turn the flashlight off in the first place. But one of the good features of the flashlight, whenever I remember which button I have it actually mapped to, I didn't mean to actually pull up the map there. But once you turn off the flashlight, you can actually become semi-hidden to the enemy in darkened areas. So right now the lying figure isn't really sure where we are. even though the radio stack should actually be giving off our position. So we can now dispatch him with relative ease, and we can just go ahead and turn back on the flashlight and continue on our way if need be the case. Now, some of the other features of the flashlight are, now it may be reasonably lit, you can tell what's going on the screen right now, but James will actually not pick up items while in dark areas. He will not even notice they're there. Additionally, things like reading the map, he will not do. He'll say, oh, it's too dark, can't read the map. And additionally, I think the final thing is that if you come up to a door you have the key for, and you don't have your light on, it's dark, he will actually not use the key. So, the few combat benefits you may get from the light are then, I guess, a bit nullified by the fact you do pretty much need the light on for any real dark areas. Especially, as I'll try to show off in the next video, the third floor is extremely dark, so even combat is a bit iffy when you get up there. But not all of these apartments actually have, I guess, story or quest-specific items. Some of them just have additional items like extra bullets and healing items. So it's always good to check as many doors as you possibly can and just make sure you get everything, because really about 70% of the doors either have broken locks or things like that, so you're not even going to be able to get into them. And really, more than anything, you want to make sure, especially for the lying figures, that you get off that finishing stomp as quickly as possible, because there's a very small window before they start skittering along the floor, and you're now having to face a much more dangerous enemy. I actually ended up getting cornered at some point in a very narrow hallway/doorway, and I ended up getting more or less juggled to death by the skittering into a corner. So, but I think we're actually running out of doors to check on the second floor. I think this is going to be the last one we can actually access for right now. And this little note here, just trying to give us a hint for a puzzle that is actually present in the apartment. The puzzle itself, though, isn't really too difficult to figure out. I think it's supposed to change on hard mode, but since we're playing on normal, it's relatively easy to figure out. And we'll be talking about it more when we actually come back here. But